So a year ago, I'm wasting time on YouTube Shorts, as you do. And I came across this YouTuber. He's ranking his favorite fantasy series. Well, I like fantasy series, and I love YouTubers. So let's check this out. It's not really unusual, but I like it. That's a good thing. It's cool. The thing that was kind of weird, it's a little weird. It's like you got Stormlight. It's your first laws, you greenbone, and you got your different tiers. And paired up against in the same tiers, the Wheel of Time, is this series by the name of The Wandering Inn. For those of you who don't know, the Wheel of Time is this pillar of the community, considered to be in the same vein as like The Lord of the Rings. And I've never heard of The Wandering Inn. What's that? So I'm not. We don't really pay attention to such things. It's sort of peculiar. The only thing that'll be interesting is what the Wheel of Time could be paired up against next. What do you think, dear reader? Greenbone? Interesting. First Law, perhaps? Or Stormlight, the Brandon Sanderson people? Yeah. So then, what are you talking about? The Wheel of Time lost? Wandering Inn is going on in the tier list? The Wheel of Time lost? What's going on here? This guy's a funny guy, this YouTuber. He's a crazy guy, a stupid guy, but public forum, the internet, lets comments, dislikes, put that loser in his place. And I open the comments thrilled at seeing this lunatic put in his place. What am I looking at? What is this? The comments section, it was an impossibility. Every single one seemed to agree that the Wandering Inn deserved its place over the Wheel of Time. How was that possible? The Wheel of Time was a classic. It must have deserved its place. People loved it. No. I would discover the truth of this matter for myself. Thank you, for myself. Let's see. Yes. Author Pirateaba, but it's not even a published book. It's a web serial. A web serial? Beat the Wheel of Time? What? Okay, fine. You win, Pirateaba. You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. I would read the Wheel of Time. Not the Wheel of Time. I would read the Wandering Inn in its totality. I would read all of it. I would be the judge. I would find out for myself. It should be easy. Let's see. It's
領域展開無料空所
It's not 10 million. 10 million words. The word count stared at me from my computer screen, as if mocking my weakness. Over 10 million words. I would put it as over twice as long as the Wheel of Time. The author must be some kind of eldritch god laughing at me. I'd pulled back the veil and been greeted with something beyond my comprehension. My meager ability to understand. I wasn't even fully caught up to One Piece. I hadn't even finished Stormlight or started the First Law. There was no way I would be able to finish this. I would never understand. I would never know. Which is what I might have said if I was a weaker man. But I am not a weaker man. I will read every single page. I will read every single paragraph. I will read every single one of the 10 million words that make up the Wandering Inn. And if you write 10 million more, I will devour it. The Wandering Inn will be my sustenance, my very breakfast, my lunch, my supper, my dinner, my morning tea, my crumpets. Fuck you. It'll be fucking mine. I'll take every single piece of it that I like and use it to sustain myself for 10 million years! Before I speak on anything else, I should talk a bit about the world of the Wonderkin. A land of fantasy is the in-world, and it is composed of numerous continents and peoples, each filled with unique cultures and histories. There's something interesting to note, though, is the scale. The world is literally bigger than our own. I mean, look at this map of the desert continent of Chandrar, when being roughly compared to North and South America. You want to travel across the continent? Stupid idiot. Have fun. Stupid. So stupid. Size literally dictates, in part, how the world works. I mean, shipping goods and peoples across the oceans sucks. Can you imagine? Not only are the oceans bigger than your mom, but they're filled with all the usual things one might find in the oceans. No, thank you, sir. No. And that's just a simple tweak to the world that alters it in such an interesting manner. And this is ignoring all the different continents and all the peoples and all the cultures that live in them. Like the aforementioned Chandrar, a desert hellhole currently undergoing a power vacuum as the previous ruler, the King of Destruction, has fallen into a deep and depressive slumber, his nation slowly crumbling into the desert sands that surround him. Or perhaps you like tropical resorts? Then come on down to Balaros. We got disease, blood, insects, mercenaries, gold. I don't even know what that thing is, but we got it. We got stuff. Balaros sucks. It is a green nightmare where wars are waged and mercenaries murk and blood and gold flow without end. It is super duper fun. It's super duper duper. Or perhaps Israel. My admittedly novitiate understanding of Israel is as follows. That firstly, there was a great age of drakes who built mighty and walled cities which emanated ancient magics and power. This was admittedly pretty good for them. They ruled the continent totally, even owning the high passes, a Himalayan-sized mountain range that split the continent north to south. But humans from the human continent of Tarandria arrived and pushed the Drakes back to the south, destroying many of their cities and causing great animosity that exists between the two peoples even to this day. And, okay, just to note, they send armies at each other like every year, and they've been doing this for the past like 100-something, I don't even know, God knows how long, okay? And it's gotten so bad that all of the blood and magic and like hate has made a fucking evil land called the Bloodfields where evil shit just lives. It's like, what? Like, it sucks. I don't like I don't even know what is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. I give up. You know, whatever. But for all that bloodshed, all the armies sent to kill each other, all the death, there was never any real change. A comfortable status quo had been established, one that passed on the hatred of the older generations onto the new, and allowed for each side to declare meaningless victories. Things were, for better or worse, stable. And what happens, dear listener, when things become stable? Stability craves instability. That which is built desires to be unbuilt. The proverbial dice flip, and what do you know? Bad luck. Snake Eyes. You rolled a natural 1. And so, history would repeat itself. And within living memory, the black tide set sail from their blighted continent of Rear and made landfall in the south of Israel near the Drakes. The reports were scarce at first, for the new arrivals had lost an overwhelming amount of their numbers and power at sea. That would prove to be the only mistake they would make. And they rebuilt and restructured and birthed new legions. The Drakes and the humans to the north were woefully unprepared for what was coming, for the black legions of the arthropod Antinium had arrived. The war was bloody and long, and had made the petty conflicts of the Bloodfields seem trivial and comic by comparison. The Antinium grew great hives and rolled like a black ocean across the south, but even they could not take the mighty walled cities of the Drake. And after a time of death and woe, they were pushed back with the help of heroes such as the Tidebreaker. The casualties of the war were monstrous to behold, and eventually the blood-sickened sides agreed to some sort of peace. Maybe these different peoples could put aside that which put them at odds. It wasn't as if they had properly spoken to each other. Maybe the humans could moderate, and peace of Israel could be achieved. But history repeats. And so it was that when the Second Anteni War concluded, it set the stage for the next era of Israel, the ideals and ambitions which would define its future. And in the Drake city of Liscor, in the gateway to the High Passes, it was there that a girl from another world appeared. So why did I write out and read out an entire paragraph on made-up history? Well, one, I wanted to, so there's that. But two, it's that every single aspect of this world feels real and breathable. And although it is without question high fantasy, whimsy, I mean, you got the Drakes, you got the ant people, you got the goblins, you got the guys. But the characters themselves are very grounded, very real. It's all very down to earth. We got the soil, that earthy garden type taste. It's really like juicy. It's not like, I mean, you got some people, my family, but you also got the I'm doing my job. I'm working at the Adventurers Guild. I gotta work with my cousin Bunker came over. Blah blah blah. It works. It just works. There's not a single part of the world that you feel like you could go there and it just wouldn't exist. And that's kind of an issue with stories like this. Is when sometimes it feels like if you tread off the beaten path, the world just falls away and you got a big old world home just right there. But luckily, it's not a complaint with this one. I hope that the whole, what the past 5 minutes was has rammed that into your stupid head. I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, I can't help you. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on from all that. Okay, but we're not getting to characters yet. Okay, we're not getting there yet because we have magic to talk about. Yes, we do. There's a magic system, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a leveling and skill-based magic system. Okay, so it's like Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, I hate that. Okay, magic is supposed to be magical, okay? It's supposed to be magic, it's supposed to be magic. It's not supposed to be the number. The bigger, I'm level 20 and I beat your level 5 sorcerer. Fuck you, bitch. It's not supposed to be like that. That's not fun. So then, it is with overwhelming happiness and absolute bliss that I can say that although the Wandering Inn has a magic system that involves levels and skills, it has none of those problems. It has none of them, okay? Because the world itself, it's partially internal, right? It's partially what you decides on what you level. It's like you create a class in your head, right? And then it's like you get random skills based on the type of stuff you do, right? And it's not just that, it's that there's a whole cultural system in place. There's superstitions, and some people believe you only level one thing, some people believe you level multiple things, some people believe you get a finite amount, some people get an infinite amount, right? And it's like, like leveling is like, oh, it's a big deal. Oh, like Jimbo, he leveled up, he's a farmer, he's level 13 now, he's level 12 for last 10 years. And then it's like a big party, you don't celebrate birthdays in the in-world, but you celebrate the leveling up, and that's cool. That's nice. It's little details like that. It makes it feel like, oh, it's real, it's meaty. It's that, once again, it's that good soil taste, the good soil, just like snort that shit. I mean, it's great. It's good, organic, good health, and it's cool. I like it a lot, okay? I like it a lot. It's neat. I don't, it's not, yeah, that's about it, Erin Solstice is a person of many talents. She can play chess and just don't look at me like that, okay? It's important, trust me. Let her cook. Let the poor girl cook. She's been through enough, okay? But it is also important to note that she is not some great warrior or mage or tactician. Indeed, when she is hurled from a modern-day chess tournament into the in-world, it is not some beautiful city or tavern or temple or battleground she finds herself in, but instead the empty and god-forsaken wilderness near the city of Liscor. A wilderness, I might add, that is predominantly populated by goblins and stone deceivers, which are these rock crab looking fellas right there. And her only shelter, an abandoned inn that she takes refuge within. She's got a building, and that's it. Okay, that's just a building. And so it really makes it kind of morbidly ridiculous to see her just struggling to survive out there. I mean, just gathering fruit or water became some goofy battle of life and death. It's okay. I had a full paragraph on this. I think I can sum it up better with this image here. So there you go. That's how difficult it was. Okay, that's just God damn it. But because of how hard it was and how nightmarish surviving out there became, anytime she made even a little bit of progress, I cheered. Oh, you don't have to like fight over fruit with like a bunch of little goblins anymore. You actually, it's just, things became easier. And she didn't remain alone and in isolation for long. As I stated before, she found herself on the outskirts of the city of Liscor, which, if you were paying attention to the world-building part of the video, you will note was on the Drake side of the high passes. Which, okay, just because it's on the Drake side, there are like other guys down there. You got the gnolls and the Antinium and some other species, but so it's not just the Drakes, okay? So that. But the interesting part about that was it highlights some of the cultural and moral differences at play here, both based on culture but also the different species. The way Aaron, as a newcomer and peculiar human, is viewed is different depending on whose eyes you look through. The Drake Olessum, a standing tactician of the city, might view her as a rival of board games, where the Gnoll shopkeeper, Kersia, might see her as more of just another peculiar customer, right? Or perhaps the wayward maid, Pisces, who could see her as another mark for intimidation. Or, even more interestingly, when one considers the two senior guardsmen of the city, Relk the Drake and Klebech of the Antinium. Relk sees her as embarrassingly naive and bound to get herself killed, and as such, tries his best to keep her safe, even if that tramples on Aaron's own beliefs and ideals. Whereas his partner, Klebech, is far more reserved and calculated in his estimations. He plays it very close to his chest, where Relk is boisterous, and in the extreme, Klebech is quiet. Just what is a human doing all the way out here? What could this mean? And why is she so peculiar, even when viewed among other humans? And it is these relationship dynamics and the ridiculous acts of survival in the wilderness which make up the fascinating early chapters of The Wandering Inn. The days are meted out page by page, and you see every step of Aaron's life in this strange new world. And it's just fun, okay? It's really fun to see her progress, the relationships strengthen or weaken for every action taken, and the web of characters flexed and changed as the pages and time moved on. And it's just awesome. I like it. It felt good. It's just good. It's just good. Aaron Solstice's life became comfortable. No longer some ridiculous battle just to stay alive. Her mornings spent picking blue fruit or taking water from a nearby stream were no longer some insane battlegrounds against rock crabs and goblins. And that opened up time. And she could spend her afternoons browsing the wares in the marketplace of Liscor, and evenings spent cooking for customers and playing games. There's a pleasant rhythm to it. It's just fun. But even in a world as peculiar as this, there's still reality. And bad things happen. Aaron Solstice frightened me somewhat as a character early on. I had the same belief of Relk, that she would not do what was needed to survive if push came to shove. And part of me was happy that I was wrong. And part of me was sad that this beautiful, innocent character had to be put through such terrible things. And I was worried her smile might disappear forever. And so it made me happy that she kept smiling. If I'm being honest, she is in many ways a mystery to me. She does what is needed without losing that love for life. Life is hard, and it's easy to become jaded or twisted or cynical. Which is precisely where I want to talk about our next character, massive douchebag, and the best girl in the universe, Ryoka Griffin. Ryoka Griffin is everything Aaron Solstice isn't. Quick-witted, quick-footed, quick to anger. Where Aaron shoves down her feelings of loss and loneliness over her old world, and she roots herself to her inn and the people and friendship and na. Ryoka only shrugged and relished the newfound freedom, and did what she always did. That is to say, running. Ryoka is a track runner, a good track runner. And, luckily for her, as a track runner, there were occupations for people with her talents in the in-world. By making a living at the Runners Guild, which is in essence the male department, she owed nothing to no one. She was what she'd always wanted in her old life. Free. But it wasn't just people Ryoka wanted to be free of, but systems of power themselves. And so, in a world where leveling in skills granted power or acclaim or anything else one might desire, Ryoka stood out as the one person who refused both levels and skills. Such things were crutches that the weak and foolish relied on, and Ryoka didn't need to rely on anything or anyone. But the thing about solitary existence is that it gets lonely. Always relying on yourself, never anyone to watch your back. And so it made me happy when she made friends. An adventurer group by the name of the Horns of Hammerad, who she aided in a battle against a lich by running in supplies and potions for, something most runners were afraid to do. Afterwards, the adventuring team's Minotaur captain swore staunch friendship to her ever after. And I'm always a sucker for stories like that. Antisocial outsiders who gain family or friends, relearn what it was like to live without anger and instead live with connection or friendship or love. And when she got into trouble or needed help, the Horns were there. Sometimes just kind words, sometimes just friends for a person who had few, and once with aid when Ryoka's life might as well have been over. And I was really excited to keep reading. I really wanted to see what would happen next. I really wanted to read how characters like Ryoka or Eren would change and grow, even if their lives never really intersected. There are few things in life as gratifying as watching someone grow out of their faults, and so I was thrilled. But it's hard to change what you are. And sometimes what you are is awful. I remember reading chapter 148. I remember not being able to believe what I was seeing on the page. And I remember the realization that I had truly misjudged how much anger some people can carry. Sometimes rage can get the best of you. It can boil red and black and goad you into blindness. Words, thoughts, actions, every single part of yourself just becomes a tool to hurt everything around you. Friends, enemies, when you get angry enough, it doesn't matter which is which. And I'd like to say I can't relate, that I've never been so mad. But I would have lied if I had said that there were no parts of Ryoka's rage that reminded me of myself. And it's rare to see such characters to be depicted in stories like this. People with so much corrosive spirit and pain that they burn everything and everyone around them. It surprised me to see something like that depicted in a slice of life story about a girl in a magical inn. It surprised me to see a character with so much venom. There was a part of her that rejected the world and everything in it, and within a single night, Ryoka destroyed every connection she had. She would always be a loner, always looking in from the outside, because she was poison. And I wanted her to be wrong. I wanted her desperately to return and apologize, but instead she did what she always did. She ran. It really is a feat of writing to create a character like Eren Solstice, who is just a beaming ray of sunshine, and in the same breath to write a character like Ryoka. Like I said before, Eren was in many ways a mystery to me. A mystery I loved reading about, but still somewhat uncomfortable. Maybe she reminded me of someone I used to be long ago. But Ryoka was familiar to me. Not in a pleasant way, but it still was really wonderful to read a character like that, still treated with a tenderness by the writer. Maybe even people like her could find what it was they were running toward. And I hope she found it, whatever she was moving towards. I hope she found it and more. But what happens to those of us who can't run? Those of us who have to face the monsters head on? Those of us trapped in the dark? I love RPGs. Call of Cthulhu, Dungeons and Dragons. I think they're great. Dungeon raids, final showdowns with mad cultists, or alien horrors, or the undead. The adventurers go in to smite the darkness and win gold, glory, acclaim, and anything else they should desire. But sometimes things don't go to plan. Maybe you misjudged your enemy, or the environment, or some other seemingly trivial detail. The point is that the more adventures you go on, the more likely it is for something to go wrong. That is to say, if you go on enough adventures, something will go wrong. It is a certainty, not a possibility. I've been both a dungeon master and a player when such things happen. The air tenses as those around the table feel the imminent danger. Maybe it's traps or monsters or something else, but as the rounds go on, eventually there will come a tipping point. And the table realizes that if one more roll is failed, someone's character will die. And so it was that in the final chapters of the Wandering Inn's first volume, an alliance was struck between differing adventuring groups to brave the dark. Overkill by all estimations. All groups were heavily skilled and experienced, and the joint raid should have been a simple, if slightly uneasy matter. Instead, they encountered a door. Instead, they encountered a cryptic warning in the form of a riddle. Instead, they encountered a being called Skinner. A thing from the depths of time, built strong from the stolen flesh of 1,000 murders. A cold thing, a being without even a trace of morality. A plague made flesh and sent dragging itself into the mundane world. It is this being the joint team of dungeon raiders must face at the bottom of the world. Adventuring parties are made of found families, you see. People you spend years with, people who watch your back, fight with you, people who you party with, laugh with, and in some cases, love with. In almost all stories, it is a truly cardinal sin to break the bonds that tie adventurers together. It is precisely so because the trust between parties must be absolute. Absolute enough that no matter what you're faced with, you can laugh as you take it on. The thing about that, though, is that it means when such bonds are severed, either by betrayal or death or something even worse, it hurts. And so, in the depths of the earth, they fought together. Perhaps some lived, or perhaps some didn't. That I leave for you to find out. But there is one last thing I want to talk about, the thing that made me want to make this video. During Volume 1, the vast majority involves Ryoka, Eren, and the characters that exist in and around them. But about halfway through the volume, there is an interlude. Those who've read the story know exactly what I'm talking about. In between chapter 124 and 125, there is the King Edition interlude. Two twins, plucked from the modern world by lieu of magic, accident, or the workings of fate, are placed into the throne room of a kingly conqueror. His eyes and body are hollow and empty. His fire for life and conquest and victory and passion lay extinguished, and his kingdom slowly crumbles to dust around him, sinking into the sands. But the twins' presence rustled something deep within the king. A curiosity which blossomed into flames the more questions he asked and the more they answered. He could see it, the worlds beyond this one. And with his vision, his passions reignited from ash into flame. No philosopher king was he, nor painter, nor architect. He was a conquering lord, a burning flame that devoured all strife. He was Floss Rymark, the king of destruction, and he had awakened. If it wasn't obvious by now, I had a blast with The Wandering Inn's first volume, so much so that I wanted to make a video about it. And if this video does even a fraction of justice that the story deserves, then I'm happy with that. And for those of you who were convinced, you can find the story online for free. I found there to be something really special about it. No matter how hard or nasty or depressing things got, they also moved on. There was always another night, but after night always came dawn. And I guess that's why you should read The Wandering Inn. Volume 1. There's other volumes. There's other volumes other than Volume 1.